It's everybody's favorite Cybers deck, Marincess.
Yeah, right.
What's up, guys? Ape here, and today we have a Marincess deck profile. I've been wanting to do this for a while, because we haven't featured Marincess on the channel before. But now that we have easier access to some of the Marincess cards and like some Cyber support cards, especially from last year's Megaton opening or Megaton reprints, decided to collect all the cards and be able to make a deck profile. So maybe if you don't know about Marincess, they are a water-based archetype. They are cybers. They're not like aqua or fish or sea serpent or anything like that. So they don't really have too much synergy with like maybe mermaids or things like that because they are cybers. But other than that, they are obviously a very link-based deck. They don't have any like XDs or synchros. It'd be cool if they did, just so they could expand the archetype a little bit. But with this deck, like I said, since they are cybers, they are going to be obviously a more link-based deck. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump right into the deck profile. For any Marincess deck, I think you got to play triple Blue Tang. When she's normal spell summon, you get to send a Marincess card from your deck to your hand, or some Marincess monster, my bad, from your deck to your graveyard. That way you can start like have like Mandarin or Seahorse, or that way you have things so you can really get back to your hand. Because once you get like an Anemone or Marbled Rock onto the field, and then you use like Blue Tang's effect, you can always kind of send what you want, and then you can get it back with an Anemone or Marbled Rock. But other than that, she also starts your plays because with Marincess they do have link ones, so that way whatever monster you summon, you can always link it away, and you get extra pluses. And also with Blue Tang, when she's used for, I think it's a water link monster. Yeah, if she's used for a water monster, or link summon of a water monster, you get to excavate the top 3 cards and add a Marincess card among them. And then you shuffle the rest back. So it's really good to dig into your deck. Like I said, just normal, dump, and then link her away for something. Then you can even search. So she's really good. For the next card we play, we got triple Marincess Pascalis. So this one is when it's normal or special. You get special summon one from your hand. So she's gonna help you like go into like some link plays because obviously you get 2 monsters on board really easily. And her other effect is during your main phase, except to turn this card into the graveyard, you banish this card from your graveyard, then target a Marincess spell and trap in your grave and add it back to your hand. So in this deck, we don't play much of the Marincess spells and traps. We only play 1 Battle Ocean and triple Marincess Wave. I read all the other ones, and honestly, they're not too good when it comes to like with cards you need to like be able to stop your opponent and stuff. Marincess Wave is the best, and that's why we play it at 3. It's kind of like your in-deck impermanence for the deck, and also gives some blanket protection to the monsters you control. But yeah, with Pascalis, you can always like recur those spell and trap cards back, especially like your field spell, because it does boost your monsters. Especially when you start link summoning a lot, it can really boost up your link monsters a lot. So yeah, Pascalis for to start going into links and stuff. And then for the next card play triple Marincess Seahorse. This one is a just special summons itself to a link monster, or a Marincess link monster at points, or an arrow of theirs. So that way, so you can just kind of link climb really easily. So with this deck, you can link climb pretty easily. They do with some of the effects, you do lock yourself out of water or into cybers. So that's why we play a good amount of the Marincess links in the extra deck. So that way you have options depending on how the game's going. But Seahorse, she's really good because also when she's in the grave, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon a water monster from your hand to your zone, and Marincess link monster points. So that way, you just keep, like I said, you can link climb really easily with this deck. For the next card we play double of Marincess Mandarin. So she's kind of like the Seahorse. If she's in your hand or graveyard, you control 2 Marincess monsters, you can summon her from hand or grave. So that's really why we play her. We don't play 2 just because, like I said, other than that, we don't really use her. In Mandarin, I like using it as like a discard fodder, kind of like a Divine Sword. Be used in a warrior deck. You always pitch it, so that way you can always just get these discards for free. Since you can summon it from grave. So that's why I always like you know, sending her to the grave. And then if I have a lot of stuff that discards, or you get to add stuff back to your hand, I always like to use her as a way to like discard, but then you get it back and things like that. So that way you're never losing like other cards that you need, like it'll be a power spell or any of your hand traps or anything like that. But yeah, Mandarin, she's good. Like I said, just get another body on board. Now, for the next cards you play, it's gonna be this is all just generic cyber stuff. Obviously, in any cybers deck, you want to play Parallel Exceed. I think in this deck it helps out. It gets more material on board. It does suck that it's not water, but with Parallel Exceed, if let's say you don't use any of your Marincess stuff where it locks you out of just water or just cybers or anything like that, Parallel Exceed helps you get into access code really easily. Obviously, we play access code because what cybers deck would be without access code? So in this deck, you can make it really easy. If you know you can game your opponent, Parallel Exceed really helps out to summon out, you know, two, one from your hand, one from your deck, and then we can go into like access code or into any other link, and then go into access code after that. So Parallel Exceed, really good card in this deck. For the next card I play, it's kind of like I don't want to call it a tech, but it's just a card I thought about playing. It's triple Balancer Lord. So this one you pay 1,000, and then during your main phase you get an extra normal summon. So this helps out to get extra bodies on board. So obviously you summon him, and then like let's say you have a blue tank and Pascalis in your hand, you get always normal him, use the effect, pay 1,000, get the extra normal, and now we have 3 monsters on board for just 1,000 life points. So it's just a card you can consider playing. It is searchable with Sign and Mining, but other than that, that's all we really use it for. But it has another great effect. If this card is banished, you can spell summon a level 4 lower monster from your hand. So if they were to ever banish it for some reason, your opponent or even yourself, you can summon something from your hand. So that's why we play the Balancer Lord, just to get extra bodies on board and be able to go into our big links. For our others, so we play one Sea Archiver, one because it's cybers and it's easy to summon, and it's a water, so it does help out if we lock ourselves out from only waters. And then we also play one Gotchiri, so I only play this just because like if we can go into a link 3, but you really need to go into like access code, this card really helps out because it can summon itself out, and then you use the 2 monsters to go into access code, because access code just needs 2+ monsters. And like I said, you can summon Link 3 pretty easily. You can summon Marble Rock pretty easily. So that's why we play this card, just so we can get that extra body on board. Obviously, we can use like Marble Rock's effect already, and then you can use this effect. It negates its effects, but we already used its effects. It doesn't really matter at that point. And then that way we make an access code, and that way access code has a little bit of blanket protection because of Gotchiri's effect, to give it a little bit of protection. So yeah, so that's why I play in the deck. It does kind of suck because it is a level 8, so we don't really have a way to summon it or like search it out. But it's just there, like, if you want to play it. If you don't want to play that, you can always play Scriptron as well. That's a water cybers if you want to play that instead. So it just depends, whatever you want to play. Now, for the last monsters, our last monsters of the deck, just gonna be a bunch of hand traps, just because this deck really needs it. Triple Ash, just generic stuff. Triple Ghost Bell, and then double Phantasme. Yeah, just Ash, and then Bell. Like, now I see Bell being used a lot because, when those decks that need like an extra summon from grave, or added back an extra resource they need from the grave, Bell helps with that, or to cover that. So I can see why Bell's being used a lot lately. And then Phantasme. I know maybe Phantasme could be in and out of the meta a lot, but I just like Phantasme in this deck. Not just because we link summon ourselves, but like usually nowadays a lot of decks still use links, even if maybe they don't predominantly use links. But whenever they use that one link thing that they need to start their plays or whatever, you can always summon Phantasme, and that way you can always draw 2 and you put back 1. But at least maybe you can like search for like a Ash or something. So that's why it's in the deck, and that's why we only play 2 of. And also can give some, if Phantasme were to survive, it gives a little bit of protection to your stuff. Alright guys, now we go on to the spells. We actually don't run a lot of spells in this deck, just the ones we need, or the one you really need is Triple Silent Mining. When it comes to your Marincess core, everything is level 4 or lower, so you gotta play triple. And then for our 1-ofs, I just play some, like these could all be whatever you want it to be. Since we already play good enough hand traps and stuff, these are just more power spells. For the one Marincess spell we do play is the Battle Ocean that we have Summon the Search with the little Marincess Angel or whatever it's called, Sea Angel. So we play the one target for that. One succession just because, like I said, we do play a lot of links. So that way we can get back, it's like another Monster Reborn. I decided to throw in Mind Control just because it's a way maybe we can like link up into something really easily. Like if we need to link up to access code really easily and your opponent has like a link 2 out there, we can just take that really easily. And then one Monster Reborn just because we're going to need as much help as we can, and especially to recover and things like that, in case our opponent, wrecks us. And then for the last 6 cards, it's going to be our traps. It's a triple Marincess wave, so this is kind of like your impermanence for the deck. Usually you're going to sit on a link 2 or link 3 if you have the right hand. And you can activate this from your hand. It kind of reminds me of like this Phantasm Spiral cards. If you control a normal monster, you get to, and the Uni, you get to, activate it from hand. So that way you don't have it set and your opponent just like, destroys it hell easily. So yeah, so Marincess Wave, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, negate that face-up monster effects till the end of this turn. Then if you control a link 2 or higher monster, Marincess monster, all face-up monsters you currently control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. So it gives some good blanket protection for your monsters. And then if you control a link 3 or higher Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand. Good thing about this card is that it's not once per turn, so if you do have multiples and you have, like I said, a link 3 out, Marincess link 3, you can use this multiple times. So that way you can, like, stop your opponent's stuff. Because sometimes you can stop your first opponent's monster effect, but maybe the second one really gets you. So having double is not too bad because you're not restricted to only activating 1 per turn. So that's why it's good. And then for the last card, triple impermanence. If you don't have impermanence, you can use something else. I have it, so obviously I need it, but I put it in the deck. And also it just gives a lot of help to the Marincess because I think you should go second with the deck because you can, I want to say OTK, but you can at least summon a really big beefy monster, and you just need as many cards as you can to stop your opponent going off in the first turn, and permanence helps with that. Now let's go on to the extra deck. So for when it comes to Link 1s, obviously they're pretty broken. See them now on the ban list, like Strike a Dragon and things like that. But Marincess, obviously they're not a tiered, very competitive deck. But they do have their Link 1s. They're good Link 1s. We play double Blue Slug. Blue Slug is usually one of the first ones you go into because when it's summoned, you get to add back the Marincess card from the graveyard to your hand. Or monster, I should say. And it's really good because you get to, whatever you link away, you can get it back. So it's a really good card. And also just like it goes into the Marincess and the Blue Slug play, and then you can just go from there. Man, and also she's 1500 for a Link 1, which is actually not bad at all. And then for the next Link 1, once the Angel, this one switches out your spells. Obviously we only play 1, just because, like I said, they don't have any other, I don't think they have any other spells. And Battle Ocean is the only one, but we don't want to play multiples because Marincess Battle Ocean doesn't do too much. One Crystal Heart, so this one helps when you link into your Marbled Rock. If you're able to do it properly, you can get your Marbled Rock to be unaffected by card effects. So that's why I play the one of, and also just 2 water monsters. So if you do end up using something that's not Marincess, it's okay. But Crystal Heart, it is a good card, and also you can actually stall with this card. So that's why I play the one of. For the next link, we play double and I can never say this name, and whatever we call it. Yeah, this card is great. Obviously, all your Marincess main deck, especially, is going to be all like 1500 or less. So that way you can bring stuff back, link up into Link 3 and all that. So yeah, she's really good. And also when she's sent from field to grave, you can target a Marincess card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So she's a really good recursion card as well. For our next link, we play double Marbled Rock. So her effect also, once per turn, you can target a Marincess card in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. So usually I like to, like if I use my Marincess wave already, I can always get it back. during my turn, obviously. But yeah, she's a really good recursion card, and also she can protect your stuff as well. So that's why we play 2 of her. For the last 2 Marincess links, play 1 Wonderheart, 1 Bubble Reef. Sometimes I don't find myself going into these 2 cards too often unless I really have to. Usually I try to sit on the marbled rock with all the equips and stuff, because she can come out to like 4,500. So long as you got Battle Ocean and stuff on it. But you know, there's just more like, if you do have to go into these cards, you can. Bubble Reef is a good way to start drawing stuff, and then you can still get your stuff back. Wonderheart, you can get it out if you like. I see Bubble Reef being played more than Wonderheart, so if you don't want to use Wonderheart, you can probably switch it out for something else. But in this deck, you know, you just want to have your options, especially if your opponent like banishes your extra deck or some shit. Now, for your regular or your generic link monsters, and when it comes to some of these, you don't have to play them. You can always switch it out for other stuff. 1 Miss Starboy, the only reason why we play Miss Starboy is because, like I said, you can lock yourself out of only into waters. So that's why I play the 1 Miss Starboy, just because it's generic for your deck, and also can give your monster boosts. We play 1 area, especially like with the mind control. Like, you take something away from your opponent, and like lets you, obviously you can't attack with it or anything, but like if you want to link it away, area is good because it just needs 2 monsters, including a water monster. I think you always use one of your own Marincess monsters to link this into. That way, if you need to like get rid of a dragoons or something, you already baited it out. You can use area to link it away and things like that. And then also, if your opponent somehow has something water in the grave, you can summon something back. Or if not, you can send the area, and then you can, if she gets destroyed, you get to search something. So that's why I play that. 1 Splash Mage. I think in any Cybers deck, you kind of want to play this card. It helps out in this deck, especially because it is a water Cybers, and also it can link you up into link 3 really easily because of its effect. So that's why we play the Splash Mage. And now for your link 4s, your generic link 4s. Like I said, this all comes to personal preference. I play 1 Avermax and the access code Avermax just because, like, maybe sometimes you have like 2 link 2s out, and maybe they can't really do much, but maybe Avermax can help you out as long as you haven't locked yourself out into waters or Marincesses. And also it's a Cyber, so like I said, just in case you lock yourself out, you at least have Cybers. And access code, just because access code is access code. Like I said, with some of your other monsters, if you don't want to play Area or the Wonderheart or like Miss Starboy, you can always switch them up for like Nightmare stuff. That way you have something generic, and also like just link up into access code really easily. But yeah, that is it for the deck profile, you guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think about it. What spicy techs you play in your Marincess deck profile. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you like this deck profile. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.
For those of you who don't know, this is what our studio looks like now. Ooh. Joe gets his own personal space.
You're clicking away.
Doing my thing.
Dude, is that fucking Diablo, bro?
Dude, it's fucking Diablos.
Shut up, Abe. Just because you don't play video games.
Not that much now.
I'm just kidding. I'm Abe. I don't play video games.